Christians, they keep asking whether AI is dangerous. And that's not a bad question, but Genesis asks a harder question. Why are believers letting people with no theology of creation, no burden for stewardship, no sense of eternal responsibility, and no vision for the kingdom build the systems that will shape how people work, learn, think, create, and live? And why do so many of us still think faithfulness means adapting quietly to whatever world somebody else builds? When was the last time you built something that actually felt like yours? Not the career someone else mapped out for you, not the version of success your family handed to you, not the faithful life checklist the church gave you, something that came from you, something you were actually made to create. If you had to think about it, that's the point. Because most of us have spent years building towards something. Maybe you went to college. Maybe you skipped it and went straight to work. Maybe you have been in church your whole life, serving, tithing, showing up. Maybe you built a career, a family, a reputation. Maybe you are still in the middle of building all of it. And it's not bad. It's just not fully yours. That gap between the life you have built and the life you feel like you were made for is not automatically ingratitude. It is not automatically rebellion either. It is not always something to pray away. Sometimes it's a signal. And today I want to show you why. Because Genesis does not begin with a God who adapts. Genesis begins with a God who creates. And then that God makes us in his image. So maybe the question is not, can Christians use AI? Maybe the question is, what kind of believers should be building with every tool God has allowed into this generation? See, the checklist was never the assignment. Some of us inherited a checklist. Go to school, get a degree, get a job, be respectable, be useful, be stable, go to church, serve somewhere. Do not make too much noise. Do not ask too many questions. Do not dream too loudly. Just be faithful. And none of those things are automatically wrong. Education is a gift. Work can be honorable. Church community matters. Structure matters. But a checklist cannot produce what your hands were designed to build. A checklist can help you maintain. It can help you adapt. It can help you survive inside of a world somebody else created. But it cannot replace calling. It cannot replace imagination. It cannot replace the assignment God gave humanity before sin ever entered the picture. And that is why some people can follow every approved path and still feel like something essential in them is asleep. Not because they hate God, not because they're ungrateful, but because they were created for more than just maintenance. They were created to build. Now, I don't know if you understand this fully, but God actually thought about you before the world ever existed. Before we go to Genesis, I want to start in the New Testament. Paul says something in Ephesians 1 and 4 that I do not think we sit with long enough. It says, for he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. Before the creation of the world, not before you were born, not before your parents met, before the world ever existed, God had already chosen you in him. The word Paul uses for chose carries the sense of being selected, picked out, deliberately called by name. This is not accidental. God did not stumble into the idea of you. He chose you before he made the world you live in. Now watch this. Jeremiah says something in Jeremiah 1 and 5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Before I formed you, I knew you. Your life did not begin with other people's expectations. Your assignment did not begin with the job market. Your purpose did not begin with your family system. Before people had opinions about you, God knew you. Before the world told you what was practical, God had already placed something in you. And then Genesis shows us what kind of world he placed us into. This is important for you to understand. Genesis starts with a builder. Genesis 1 does not open with a lecture, it opens with creation. God brings order to chaos. He fills empty spaces with intention. He separates, he names, he forms, he feels, he makes. Before we see God commanding Israel, before we see covenants, before we see temples, before we see institutions, we see God creating. The first thing scripture shows us about God is not that he maintains what already exists. It is that he builds what did not exist yet. Then Genesis 1:26 says, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule. Now, I want to be careful here because this phrase has generated a lot of theological debates. But at minimum, Genesis is showing us the fullness of God's creative intention turning toward humanity. God did not make mankind casually. He does not speak humanity into existence the same way he speaks other parts into existence. The text actually slows down. It let us hear deliberation. It let us feel weight. And then God makes human beings in his image according to his likeness. Not the fish, not the birds, not the livestock, not the wild animals, humanity, which means you were not merely made alive. You carry the image of the Creator, and the image of the Creator, it's not passive. And so our first assignment was not passive. Now look at Genesis 1:28. God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. 5 commands wrapped in one blessing. Before sin, before the fall, before religious performance, before any system that later taught people to reduce faithfulness to staying out of trouble. The first assignment was not be small. It was not adapt. It was not wait until the world gives you permission. It was be fruitful, multiply, fill, subdue, and have dominion. Not one of those words is passive. To be fruitful is to produce, to take what is inside of you and bring it into the world in a form that did not exist before you showed up. To multiply is to make what you produce grow beyond the first moment. To fill is to occupy the space you were assigned. To subdue is to bring order to what is chaotic. To have dominion is to govern as a steward, not a tyrant. This is not hustle culture. Hustle culture says run faster so that you can be worth more. Genesis says you already carry the image of God. Now take responsibility for what you've been given. That is so different. One is insecurities. The other one is an assignment. Now watch this AI bridge. I'm going to show you how ancient assignments meet modern tools. Now, here is where this becomes uncomfortable. God gave this generation a tool, and it's called artificial intelligence. And the church is still trying to decide whether to be afraid. We should ask ethical questions. We should care about truth. We should care about deep fakes, deceptions, laziness, privacy, bias, exploitation, and what happens when people outsource their thinking. But if all we do is fear the tool, we will miss the assignment. AI is not the image of God. AI does not have a soul. AI does not carry moral responsibility. AI cannot replace obedience, wisdom, prayer, character, or discernment. But AI is a tool, and tools have always been a part of human calling. Remember Exodus chapter 4? God says, Moses, what is in your hand? Moses had a staff. It was ordinary. It was familiar. It was already there. God did not begin by giving Moses a new personality. He began by asking Moses to recognize what was already in his hand. And through that ordinary tool, God moved a nation. So the question is not only, is AI safe? The question is, what is in your hand? The excuse of I don't know how just got smaller. The excuse of I cannot afford a team just got smaller. The excuse of I do not have access just got smaller. The gap between the idea God put inside of you and the thing you can actually build just got smaller. And that should make believers feel responsible, not reckless, responsible. Believers should not just consume the future. Here's the part that keeps bothering me. The people who are building the future are often not asking the questions believers should be asking. They are asking, can it scale? Can it monetize? Can it automate? Can it capture attention? Can it beat the market? Those are not useless questions, but they are not enough. Believers should also be asking, does this make people more human or less human? Does this help people tell the truth or hide from it? Does this serve the vulnerable or exploit them? Does this create order or deepen chaos? Does this multiply wisdom or multiply noise? Does this honor God, neighbor, and the person using it? If the people asking those questions refuse to build, then the people who do not care about those questions will build for us. And then we spend the next decade reacting to the systems we had no hand in shaping. That's not dominion, that's adaptation. Animals adapt. Image bearers, they shape. God made the animals on the same day he made humanity. Day 6, same day. But he never gave the animals Genesis 1:28. Animals adapt beautifully to their environment. A bird builds the kind of nest birds build. A fish swims in the water it was born into. A lion hunts according to its instinct. Animals are complex, beautiful, and remarkable, but they are bound to their environment in a way humanity is not. Human beings plant gardens, build cities, write songs, design tools, tell stories, start businesses, create systems, name problems, solve problems, rebuild after collapse, bring order to where there was chaos. That is not an accident. That is image bearing. So if all you've been doing is adapting to the world around you, maybe the discomfort you feel is not random. Maybe something in you knows you were made to shape, not merely survive. I want to share a pastoral word about restlessness. I want to say this carefully. Not all anxiety is calling. Not all depression is unused purpose. Some restlessness needs care, prayer, counsel, support, treatment, rest, and community. Do not let anyone over spiritualize your pain or shame you for needing help, but also do not ignore the possibility that some of what you have been calling restlessness is the image of God in you refusing to make peace with mere survival. Some of us are not only tired because life is hard. Some of us are tired because we keep pouring our energy into things we were never assigned to build. Some of us are anxious because we keep adapting to environments we were supposed to help bring order to. Some of us are burnt out because we are hustling harder at the wrong thing instead of building what compounds. Now, I am not saying that that explains everything, but what if it explains something? What if the question is not only, how do I calm this down? What if the question is also, what is this pointing to? So let's talk about the question that's in your hand. Here's the full picture. Before the world existed, he chose you. Before you were formed, he knew you. Then Genesis shows us God creating a world full of raw material, beauty, order, possibility, and responsibility. Then he made humanity in his image, and the first assignment is not passive. It's be fruitful, multiply, fill, subdue, have dominion. The assignment has not become less relevant because technology changed. If anything, technology has made the question louder. AI did not create your calling, but it may expose your excuses. It may reveal that the thing you keep saying you cannot start is closer than you thought. It may show you that you do not need permission to begin. You need stewardship. You need wisdom. You need courage. You need discipline. You need to stop confusing fear with discernment. And you need to ask the question God asked Moses: what is in your hand? What idea? What skill? What burden? What platform? What tool? What relationship? What knowledge? What pain have you survived that could become wisdom for somebody else? What have you been calling not the right time for longer than a season? Who is waiting on the other side of the thing you have not created yet? Because someone is. The question is not whether believers should think about AI. Of course we should. The question is whether believers will only critique the future or help build it with wisdom. Are you adapting to your environment or are you shaping it? When was the last time you created something that cost you something to make? You were chosen before the world existed. You were known before you were formed. You were given an assignment before you ever had a chance to fail. So the real question is not whether you have what it takes. The real question is, what are you waiting for? I want to be clear. I am not asking these questions from a place of having it all figured out. I sit with every single one of them myself. Even with everything I've built, I know there is more in me that has not come out yet. More questions I have not asked out loud. More things I have not created. More territories I have not stepped into. And these questions do not get easier the more you build. If anything, they get louder. So I am not standing over you with these. I am sitting next to you. And I think this is exactly where we're supposed to be.